So what we want to do now is want to play what JJ Redick had to say about Bronny James, and then want to come back and continue on. Take a listen to him here.
What is the plan for Bronny?
The plan for Bronny? Yeah,
is the G League going to be a part of it? I think you've said that before, but like,
yeah, look, we hired Zach Guthrie. All we have talked about
as your G League head coach, to be clear,
as our G League head coach, Zach is working on finalizing his staff. All we've talked about in the interview process with him, and since he's been on board, is just creating synergy and integration. So the G League is not a demotion by any stretch. We are in the same building. Like we should be the model for integration between the NBA team and the G League team. I look at Zach as an extension of my staff. I look at that team as an extension of our team. I would expect us to use the G League for very specific reasons. And look, I think Bronny is a young guy. I'm very high on him as a basketball player. And I said this at his press conference. I said, he's kind of like our first player that we get to, mold and help develop. And so we're going to look at the G League as a tool in our player development system.
How much pressure is the wrong word. There's obviously going to be a craving of a sentimental craving for the first moment that father passes to son or son passes to father. Is that something we could see opening night? Like, is that like, do you feel, again, pressure? Pressure is not the right word, but do you feel that expectation from fans, from people who come up to you on the street? Like, oh man, that's going to be so fun when that happens. And could it happen right off the bat?
Yeah, nobody's really talked to me about that. Like randos, no randos have brought that up. People will ask obviously about Bronny and sort of, what he's like as a player and all that stuff. But in terms of that moment, yeah, we've talked about it and we've thought about it and we'll get it done. I don't want to commit to anything right now, but that's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner rather than later.
So you heard what JJ had to say. Here's what I think is going to happen with Bronny. I think Bronny is definitely going to be in the G League. I think he's a player that they're going to have to develop. I think I've heard his agent, Rich Paul, allude to this subtly, that, he needs to develop and find his way in the NBA. And they spoke about his defensive prowess and how he's going to have to really hang his hat on the defensive side of the floor. So he's still rough around the edges and he's still going to need to improve his basketball game. But that being said, I do believe that Bronny James is also going to play a few games with LeBron James, because I believe that was a very big part in the Lakers deciding to draft Bronny James. They wanted to make history. They wanted to be the first organization to have a father and son on the same team playing at the same time. And then when you factor in it's the Lakers, when you factor in the fact that it's LeBron James, it means they're going to make a boatload of money.